Welcome to Stage 3 Plan Learning Experiences. This will be the last segment of the Understanding by Design template discussion. And like the other stages, the materials that I'll be relying on are from Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe, their Understanding by Design guides, as well as my class notes from Dr. Stover. Stage 1 and Stage 2 were focused on the instructional designer. Stage 3 is really from the student perspective. What do we want the student to get from this? So as you can see here on the document, you will refer to modules K and N of the Green Book from Wiggins and McTighe for further information, but I'm going to walk you through the Where To learning plan. You can see on the left-hand side what the W represents, excuse me, and this is where we want we want the students to know where we're going with the information. What can they expect after they've been presented the information? What should they be able to learn? And from the instructor, you want to know where the students are coming from and any misconceptions that they might have. So we begin by using SMART learning goals. What are these learning objectives? They should be specific, measurable, attainable, results focused, and time focused. And then the relevance. Why should the students learn this? Just like in the other segments, I'm going to use a research methods course that I'm working on. Why would the students care about being the research instrument in a qualitative research methods unit? That would be relevant. Make it relevant to them. And then in terms of diagnosis, how do I know where the students are when they come into class? So maybe we have a Q&A section or discussion related to what they think about research, how they think data are collected. It could be just some general terms so the instructor gets a general sense of where the students are, and as the students are answering these questions, they can get a general sense of where they are with the material. Next is the H, or hook and hold. Why should the students pay attention? We want to grab their interest. So using my continued example of research methods, this might be presenting the story or the article or a synopsis of when Thompson in 1985 went undercover with Hell's Angels and the experience that this individual had. And then sharing the qualitative data that was collected and what we've learned from that in terms of, compliance, outlaw biker games, or a variety of things that research spawned. And then the technology. Perhaps as we introduce the audio that Thompson collected, we can demonstrate Dragon, which is an application to generate a transcript, as well as NVivo, which is a software that can assist with qualitative learning so that they can see how the transcript as well as other information can be imported into NVivo. Next, we discuss the E, the equip, experience, and explore. An example of this might be to divide the students into small groups, give them a question, and have them just go out and just start collecting data with no rule sets. Just go find some data that you think supports this. Have them come into the class after a period of time, generate a code book of how they think that they could somehow quantitatively present what they found, and then debrief the class. That's experience and explore, which leads right into revise and rethink, revise, and refine. As the students are discussing and sharing with the class, their peers and the instructor will provide inputs and peer review. So this gives each student a chance to think about what their group did, revise it for the future, and then as each subsequent group is awaiting their turn to present, they can also take the feedback that's already been presented, think about it, and adapt that into their classroom presentation as well. Next is reflect and self-regulate. Students in their small groups can just think about their lessons learned after all of the peer debriefs and instructor debriefs, and then provide a written document to the instructor with some individual lessons learned. Next is E. This is formative feedback, low-threat feedback that helps the students work towards understanding what we want them to understand, mastering the learning objectives that we presented earlier. Formative feedback might come in the form of the feedback provided during the debrief, the instructors providing critiques of the code book, showing what a legitimate code book looks like compared to what the students generated, and provide feedback in that manner. Next, we talk about the T, or the tailored. This is how the unit is going to be organized for technology enhanced learning. So here each student's going to develop his or her own code book. They'll independently complete a naturalistic observation for an assignment. And then down here you can see what are the learner-centered strategies. Perhaps we use Qualtrics to do a pre and a post test, asking students what their comfort levels are with collecting actual data. How easy was it to code? Their familiarity with generating descriptive statistics. And then organizing to be authentic. This is where we might use the SPSS to generate descriptive statistics. This is going to help them with other real-world problems. It helps to instill critical thinking, using a software application to load the data. What kind of questions can I answer? This all leads to critical thinking. The in vivo, how to manage in vivo. So this would all go towards organized to be authentic. Organizing for creativity, higher order skills, and mental habits of mind. In the example of the research methods class, we're teaching students to think flexibly. They should be able to discern when a qualitative research design is appropriate. Thinking about thinking. As students discuss trustworthiness and unbiasedness, they need to think about how they process data, how they made these observations of data. When we present qualitative before quantitative, we're actually engaged in higher order skills and scaffolding, that there's a connectedness between these two. So we go from definitions and terms to actually being able to collect data, analyze it, present a report. And organize to assess student learning. This is formative feedback. We provide it on in-class activities. We use summative rubrics, similar to what we generated in stage 2, that also have a formative component. We can generate or provide oral feedback to students, and they can also generate a journal of lessons learned after every assignment. And then organizing to use technology to analyze data. The instructors can use the pre and post test that they used for each assignment, and the instructor can look at this across semesters, and if the instructor changed a presentation style or an assignment, perhaps looking at the post-test results and comparing where students were at time 1 and time 2 across semesters will give some credence to are these new instructional techniques, are the changes of assignments, are they adding any value to the class. And then the students can also provide stop, continue, go inputs throughout the semester. Anonymously, what we want the instructor to stop, what we want to continue doing, and what we'd like to start doing. And as the instructor purposely engages in the stop, start, continues, map that based on the feedback from classes and the overall performance. With this, you'll see some UBD resources that were provided here. There are 2 lists. These were provided by Dr. Stover. Thank you, Dr. Stover. And here are the resources, the references that I used for this presentation. I appreciate your time. I hope that these 3 seminars on understanding by design have been useful for you, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you find this value added. Sharon Heilman here one last time. I hope you enjoyed the segments on understanding by design, and I look forward to next semester where we can continue our learning.